therapeutic author, you need to brand that up into a package. You can't just have it just as a name or just as you, because let's say something happens to you, you need that brand to be able to carry on without you.
Okay.
But in order for it to carry on, you've got to essentially create that into its own entity without you. You feel me? The brand is the first thing that companies, people, your audience, that's what it's going to see first.
Okay.
Before anything. So if you get that part right, the doors have already opened for everything else to take place. You feel me?
Makes sense.
Yeah, so that initial barrier, that kind of leads to the rest of the marketing. You know what I mean?
That was important nuggets, bro, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely take that in.
Yeah.
Show me around the space.
Yeah, come man, let's move.
Let's go.
Yeah, bro, so here, this is my office.
Okay.
This is where my cleaner works from.
Okay.
Do some work in here, customers come here.
Okay.
People drop their stuff off here. And yeah, like it's just a big enough space for now.
Yeah.
Whilst we're developing, obviously, we've got a lot in the pipeline.
Yep.
As we grow bigger, the company's gonna grow, we're gonna get a bigger store, but for now, this is all
This
we
is
need,
what
innit?
works, yeah, because you
This
were
is what
talking to me about expansion before, and I know
Exactly
that's
that.
always on your horizon. So,
100%, yeah.
but you know what? It's a testament of doing what works for you at this particular stage.
At this time,
Yeah.
you know, bro, there's a season for everything, and you've got to start small before you can get big. You know what I mean?
100%. Maybe in the future for recording
Yeah,
and
no,
different
in
things
here.
that I've got planned.
Yeah, in here. So this room here, this one was available.
Okay.
This one, I think we can let it go for about $5.
Okay.
But obviously, that one there, that's probably more convenient.
Okay.
You
More,
can fit
bit more of a
equipment.
bigger space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'd have the options to kind of do what you want to do. whether
Do
it
what
be,
you want, bro. Yeah, do what you want.
Decorate the walls.
Exactly that. So
Okay. Space-wise, it works.
it works perfectly.
You know what I mean? You just got to kind of suit what
Exactly
you
that.
need in the space for. There's so much different things that I'm sure you imagine. There's so much different things
Yeah,
that are in play.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And one thing I found, like when you start something, you don't realize the capacity of what it's going to become.
How big it can be.
Do you get me? So it's like, even when we was in that room originally, I clocked, I was like, raw, like, we need more shelving units because our demand's growing. So now we have to facilitate for more customers.
Yeah.
For example, one man, and then you might have more men that want to come in here and do extra work. So it's like, you might have to build out, do something even bigger.
Okay, so you
So
can't
you
really
know-
plan for that.
You can't really plan for that, no.
But it's about knowing how to adapt.
About to adapt at the right time.
All right.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Anything else random you need to see, Bo?
Yeah, my boy Keith. Of course, man, my boy Keith.
Who's this, Keith?
Keith, this is Keith, yeah.
Ah, nice to meet you, Keith. Obviously, we've heard a lot about you. So Keith has authorised this interview. Everything's above board, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Keith, I'll keep you updated. Nice to meet you. Do you think, like, the importance of having creative people around you and everyone being on the same frequency, the same vibe?
It's very important, bro.
Yeah.
As you know, man, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person
100%.
sharpen another, you know what I mean?
100%.
So, bruv, everyone's in here, we're all sharpening each other, people doing different things, but also, like, someone might be a specialist at one thing, and they can give you some gems, give you some wisdom. You can take that downstairs to your business, implement it.
It's motivational as well, bro, to see the space and to see that, you know, you're in that lane. You know what I mean? Where you're focusing on business, you're focusing on the future, you're focusing on networking, on building.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
That's my life, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's my life, bro. We've got to be focusing on the future because at the end of the day, it's like if you're not planning ahead, then you're planning to fail.
I'm the therapeutic author, and today I've got a very good interview for you lot to listen to. This person, me and him have had certain conversations off camera, and I think what he's got to say will motivate you and spark your business mind. Kai,
Yo, my
more love, my brother.
What's going on, man?
It's a pleasure having you here, King,
Bro,
man.
it's a pleasure being with someone that knows me personally as well, separately to just anything else, man.
Yes, my brother. I'm looking forward to this conversation because, as I said to the audience, bro, the conversations that we've had off camera,
Crazy conversation.
crazy, bro. And I think people, if there was a fly on the wall,
They would love to see that. They would love to see that, bro.
So much nuggets from
100%.
what we talk about.
100%.
My brother, I know you've been on a journey of growth, transformation, and I know you've got a lot to talk about. So introduce yourself to the audience, King.
Yeah, so my name is Kai Green. I'm entrepreneur, founder of Stay Clean Daily. We're a cleaning company based in London. And yeah, man, I'm just a young guy trying to turn my dreams into a reality, literally. That's it.
bro, I've structured some questions because for me, I don't know, it just seems easier
Yeah, of course, man.
to structure questions.
Definitely.
But I prepared these questions thinking about what I want to know, but also my audience want to know as well. So let's just really just start from the roots.
Yeah.
What was like for you growing up in South London, and what were some of the early influences around you?
Yeah, I would say South was revolutionary, exciting, and traumatic as well. It was a big mix of emotions, man. Early influences, I would say, you didn't really have much. There wasn't a lot of good influences. It was mainly people doing illegal activities, doing things that you shouldn't really be doing, that you had as a kind of center points of reference. But yeah, that's all I really had, man. I didn't really have much else out of that.
Okay, so from that, you would say that you utilize what you could utilize.
100%.
Okay.
You're a product of your environment at the end of the day, and you are what you see. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I heard you mention a lot of trauma. Now, this conversation, we don't really need to dwell into the trauma so much because
we want to keep it positive.
we want to keep it
light.
positive
Yeah,
and growth because you've managed to kind of get through that trauma to get to where you're here, and we're here having this conversation.
100%.
So that's kind of more what I want to base this conversation
Let's do it.
around. At what point did you feel a shift? Like, this can't be my only path.
Yeah.
What sparked that moment for you, King?
Yeah, man. So basically, I'll probably take that back to Portsmouth. I had to leave Croydon because there was just a lot of madness going on in the area at the time. So I wanted to go to university and get a fresh start. I left, I went to uni. In a nutshell, I got my degree, but I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
You know, I was hustling, doing things on the roads and that. And then I would just say that, yeah, after 2-3 years, things started going very left for me. I started having lots of, I would say, traumatic events happening. And yeah, long story short, I basically almost got killed twice, back to back, 2 weeks in a row. So after that had happened, I just spent a lot of time kind of reflecting on my life going forward. And I just come to the realization that I was either gonna die or potentially get 35 to life, maybe, if things went the way they was moving towards. So yeah, I had to make a decision to change basically from that, really.
So, life-threatening situations. And for a lot of people that are living that life, it's like really, that's kind of like
That's
really
the
the
core
two
of it, man.
options.
That's it. There isn't another pathway, bro. Like, there's no other route. Like, that's how it's gonna go. Yeah, you can't complain about it. It's kind of the fundamentals of that industry. You've just got to make a choice to either be stuck in it or make a change, get out, and change your circumstance in your life.
100%. I think what you find as well, there's people on that dibble their feet in it, and people that are 2
feet in, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for some of the people that dibble their feet in it, I think they can dibble out.
You can't. There's no half stepping.
You know?
There's no half stepping. It doesn't come with that because the industry we're in, it comes with lots of violence. It comes with lots of threatened egos, people trying to take over. And at the end of the day, you have to, in order to do well and to flourish in that industry, you have to kind of make a mark that you're not someone to, you know, be victimized or be troubled. But as a result of that, it comes with violence and, you know, the things that no one should really be doing. But I understand why people are in the situations they're in and get themselves into a problem they get themselves into, because it's not another route, really.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that still. Totally relate to that. I touched on that in my book, If Only You Knew, like, at certain ages, you don't really feel that there's an option.
Nah, you don't know.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you just Working with
what you have.
what you have.
That's the thing. I think for me, like, all I had was my phone. That was kind of like my identity at the time. Like, you don't really think much further than that. Like, you've got your little phone, it's running. You might have a couple workers doing your thing, but when you're in that kind of mindset, it's very hard to get out of it because it's all you can see. Especially if your friends and the people you're with are doing the same thing. You know, birds of a feather flock together.
100%, my brother. There was another question I wanted to ask you, but I know it's going to segue into another question that we've got further down. Changing your life, as we've just discussed, isn't easy.
Of course.
What were some of the hardest parts of leaving your old life behind?
Yeah.
And who helped you get through that?
Yeah, do you know what? Funny enough, one of my old connects actually, I was driving to Portsmouth and I was on a phone call with him and I was talking to him about everything I was going through, and he was just basically said to me, like, we're going to have a phone call this time next year and you're either still going to be there or you would have developed your business and grown it into something successful. And after I had that conversation, it was like, right, you have to really decide now, are you going to stay here and probably, you know, die or end up going to jail, or are you going to leave, exit with what you've got, the money you've got, and invest that and move into something and make something of yourself? So I'd say the hardest part of that process was letting go of my old self and rebuilding a new version of me. You know, when I came home, I would say I had a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't really know who I was anymore because for so long, I had this image built, like a bit of a bad boy image, trap star, whatever you want to call it, hustler type of image. So when I lost that, I had to rebuild that again. And that was tough because that's how I saw myself for 7-8 years. And then I would say the second hardest part is going from making, like, you know this, like, you got a story too, man. Going from making, you know, thousands of pounds in a day to a few £100 a week is humbling because the people you might have used to judge or, you know, take the piss out of, you're now in their situation. Like small things like, for example, let's say you go and buy, like, let's say like you might go and buy £1,000 pair of trainers. Now you can't do that anymore. Or you want to go Hakkasan, spend £3 on food. Now you have to think about how you're spending your money. So that was a hard, like, shift to deal with, especially when people around you, they already have that image of you. So when you're not doing it now, there's making comments and saying things, and that was hard to digest, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, it's a process, and it shows growth, but it shows that when you're going through these sort of things, the will and the drive for change is more apparent than where you've been at.
Exactly.
Like this drive for wanting to do or be something different,
100%.
wanting to reach new
next
heights.
levels, yeah.
Yeah, next levels. That seed was there, and it sounds like that conversation you had with this guy, almost like it watered that.
He definitely watered that. Shout out Dips, man. He'll watch this, but yeah, like, it definitely watered that. He was my connect, but he was a very good influence in making sure that I was gonna go on the right path after I left there.
Yeah, salute. I don't know him, but salute,
Yeah,
because
serious fella.
this is probably part of the reason why we're here having this conversation.
100%, man.
Yeah,
100%.
salute. A big part of growth is mindset. What kind of thinking did you have to unlearn, and what mindset do you hold now?
Yeah, so actually there's a book that I love by Carol Dweck. It's called Mindset. It's actually called Mindset, and she talks about there being 2 different types of mindset. A fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And people with a fixed mindset tend to let obstacles kind of stop them, or their past stop them from moving forward. And people with a growth mindset are able to use their past and cultivate it and learn from it and basically embrace it to moving forward. And I think I had to unlearn my fixed mindset and being stuck in the past, and unlearn living with my trauma, unlearn living with, like, PTSD, unlearn living with how I dealt with people, my general manner with people as well. You know what it's like on the road, it's very egotistical.
Yep.
You want to be like the baddest guy. You want to assert your authority. Like I had to let all that go. I had to drop all of that, especially in business. You have to be humble. You have to be respectful. You have to look a man in the eye. You have to make sure that you're communicating effectively. So I had to basically unlearn all those bad traits that I'd built as a so-called hustler, and come and start new into the business world.
Almost like seeing your blind spots and being able to look into yourself properly.
Basically, yeah. And I would say business-wise, like I had to unlearn that some things before that I was quite like egotistical about aren't necessarily true. So, for example, I used to be very fussy on like whether we get investment and people helping me. Because I've been independent from young, I've never liked the help of others. So I had to unlearn that, like, it's okay to ask people for help.
Yeah.
We haven't raised any investment yet, but if you look at some of like the biggest successful companies in the world, Amazon and Tesla, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, they own about 9 to 15% of their companies.
Okay.
So that was something I have to unlearn as well. And then I would say probably just learning to be a nice person. That's something I had to cultivate.
Yeah, talk more about that.
Well, from my past, as I said, my experiences kind of led me to respond to everyone in a certain type of way. I might have been a bit, upright or rude or defensive. Now I had to kind of basically change my perspective on people in understanding that not everyone's a potential threat, not everyone's out to hurt you, not everyone is out to take from you or to do, bad things to you or wish ill will on you. And basically just understand that there are good people out there. That was a hard thing that I had to unlearn, because I used to just think everyone's kind of out to get me, and I've got to have my guard up all the time. And that led me into more problems.
When you're talking, it's like I'm hearing you talk and I'm like, you've had to get to understand yourself in a deeper way.
Oh, yeah.
And almost like what you expect from people, you start to learn to expect from yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And you've been able to navigate, and I can hear the growth, brother, in how you're reasoning. We're going to go into a little bit more about the business and the finance side of things, but even just how you're switched on. And you mentioned a couple of books.
Yeah.
It's maybe a good time to ask you, when it comes to reading, education, talk to me why that's so beneficial.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, you have to feed your soul, and we're spiritual, right? So you need to make sure like what you're taking in is good, and a lot of good comes from wisdom, and wisdom can be found in books. Robert Greene says in the 40 Laws of Power, he says, fools learn through their own experience, but wise people profit from the experience of others.
Okay.
Right? So I always found books as the way to profit from the experience of other people, so that I didn't have to make mistakes. Some of my top books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrants, which we can talk about in the finance part, and Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and obviously the Bible.
So these are all books that have basically helped you to gain more knowledge, because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Exactly.
Knowledge is like you can read.
Anyone can get knowledge,
Yeah.
but wisdom is in understanding the knowledge and being able to implement it. There's a difference.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Knowledge or wisdom is knowledge applied.
Applied, exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's a nugget. That's a good nugget there, bro. So now you stepped into the business and investment. What's pushed you to start thinking bigger, and how do you stay focused on your vision?
Yeah, so going back to the books, I'll link this back to the book. So the book by Robert Kiyosaki, Cash Flow Quadrants, I had to learn that in order to think bigger, I had to be a different person, right? And I had to change my inner beliefs. So going back to the cash flow quadrant book, he talks about there being a quadrant of 4, right? And how different people with different characteristics and qualities, they get different things out of life.
Okay.
So on the left side of the quadrant, you have employees and you have small businesses and self-employed people. And on the right side of the column, you have big businesses and investors. Now, the people on the left side of the quadrant, they trade their own time for money.
Okay.
Right? But this is when I started to think big, right? Because I learned that the people on the right side of the quadrant, they use OPT and OPM, other people's time and other people's money.
Okay.
Right? So when I clocked that, as long as I'm living on the right side of the quadrant, I can have the bigger things in life. I can have all the cars I want, I can have the houses because I have freedom. And I'll be able to implement and dream bigger because I wasn't limited by time. A lot of people on the left side of the quadrant, they're not able to think bigger because you're limited by time. Time is a very valuable resource. And if you're working a 9 to 5 or you're self-employed and you're trading your own time for money, then you're not able to cultivate a mind of exploration, or you're not able to think outside the box because you're stuck. You're stuck on the left side. So yeah, I'll stay on the right side, man.
That's funny. I've got a chapter in my book, If Only You Knew, called Think Bigger.
Sick.
Yeah, there's an actual chapter called Think Bigger. And I want to ask you this year, we spoke a little bit about this off camera, but talk to me a little bit about the influence of having those with the same mindset around you and how that helps you grow.
Well, yeah, man, there's a great proverb in the Bible. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. And I think influences are super important because they shape you, guide you, and mold you. If you've got 5 friends that are bums, eventually you will be the sixth.
Sick one, yeah.
So I'm currently trying to remove myself from people that may not be moving in the same kind of direction as me. And I think, yeah, in terms of influences, they're very important in everything, man. Because without them, you're not able to, we are what you see. You are what you see. So
for somebody, what would you say to an audience member, for somebody that you love this person, it's a friend, you really check for them, but they're not on the same frequency as you. What would you say to the audience?
Well, I would say you can't take everyone with you. That's something that I've also had to unlearn, is that the people that you're trying to take with you on your journey, not everyone's fit to go with you, and that's okay. You have to also learn that mindset and emotions, they're infectious. So the people you're around, the conversations you're having, if you're around man that's smoking weed, drinking alcohol, talking about going partying and talking about nuisance, that can affect your mindset, right? So you have to distance yourself from these types of people. And like I've said to my brothers, I say to my brothers all the time, I'm really like, I'm on them. Like they can't get away with nothing from me. I'm saying like, if you don't pattern up in the next 12, by 2026 you're gone. Because what I'm on and what I'm about to live, you're not going to infect my mindset with your bullshit. I'm not having it. Whether I've known you 10, 20 years, I'll cut you off, I don't mind, because the level I'm trying to get to for my family and my success can't be compromised. And you need to be selfish with yourself in understanding that some people have got to go, some people are here to stay, and yeah, man, you can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
I don't know if your friends believe you when you say that, but I'm getting realness, and I believe everything you're saying. You know what I mean? When you're saying what you're saying, bro. And there were some nuggets in that still. So, your brand. Talk to me a little bit about your brand, my brother.
Yeah, cool. So, Stay Clean Daily, we're basically a luxury sneaker cleaning service. Okay. We now sell cleaning products as well. This is our cleaning kit here. You can find it on our website. I was at university during a time when I was kind of doing my thing, I decided that if I am gonna opt out, I need to have something to do afterwards. So I'd started building this kind of as a backup for when things go left, because I knew things were gonna go left. I already set this up during hustling and everything, so that when I'd exited, I could transition straight into this. So that's what I did, man. I left Portsmouth, I came home 2021. I invested the money I had. I was 21 at the time. I came back and I got to work. And it's mad because I always thought that you couldn't make more money outside of trapping, right? But bro, we've done five-figure deals in a day.
Yeah, and that's something else I want to touch on. Working with big brands. I know you've been working with big brands like major brands like IKEA, Barclays. Talk to me, elaborate on that.
Yeah, so when I had first come back, after about 2 years of like making literally like £200, £300 a week, I got a deal with Timberland.
Okay.
And then we ended up covering 7 Timberland stores across the UK. Fast forward the next year, we had a partnership with Adidas. And then fast forward 2024 was our biggest year last year. We partnered up with Google, Barclays Bank at Wimbledon, and I'm the front page of IKEA for business worldwide. And yeah, I guess that's a testimony of having faith in God, that if you walk away from something that's sinful or bad, you know, you're going to be blessed if you submit, you know, if you submit His will. You know what I mean?
I spoke about submitting, but keep fighting.
Yeah.
That's one of my concrete gems. Submit, but keep fighting. And what that means for me is it's like what you're submitting to is a higher force.
Exactly that.
You know what I mean? But you're still going to continue,
bro,
to keep fighting.
My girl's favorite verse in the Bible is trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Submit to Him and He will make your path straight. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, like you got to submit and just sometimes say enough is enough.
Yes.
Call it a day and be ready to trust that everything is going to work out all right.
Well, that's where divine faith comes into it. And
Exactly
you was talking earlier about knowing that things were going to go left.
I knew.
I think we get signs along the way.
Bro, we get mad signs, bro.
You know?
Like, there's no better sign than coming close to death, right? When you come close to death on a real kind of level, like a lot of you see all these kids doing all this drill stuff, this drill music and this and that, but people ain't really come real close to death. Because if you do come close to death, it will make you rethink everything you thought about life. If you're smart, that's the key. If you're smart, you will learn that this can go left. If you're an idiot, you're going to keep doing the same things and you're going to end up in the ground or in jail, right? But I'm not like that. I'm smart and I'm very thoughtful in everything I do. So, yeah, man, like, bro, the signs are real, man. If people are trying to wipe you out and kill you and take you off the earth, that is a sign that what you're doing or how you're living is clearly wrong, right? Because if you was doing something productive and you was contributing to society and you was contributing to the world and you was doing good things and being of value, that wouldn't be happening. The devil wouldn't be trying to take you and take your soul. Do you know what I mean? And luckily, praise God, we get out of them situations because He saves us and He gives us more chances. But for some people, He says enough's enough and you don't always get a second chance. I'm here today because I've been blessed with multiple chances. And sometimes, bro, I sit here and I think like, I'm actually surprised that I'm here.
I can relate.
That's. I know you know the feeling. Like it's like, how did I actually make it out of these situations? Because most people be in the ground. Yeah.
And the thing is, bro, when we're moving, it's like when it comes to protecting yourself and protecting your family, you're still going to do that, and I'm still going to do that to the best of my capability.
Today, yeah.
But
same way.
before, it was like we unconsciously or subconsciously was bringing things into fruition to make us have to
that didn't
protect.
Have to be there.
That didn't have to be there.
Didn't have to be there, and a lot of that comes from trauma and ego.
Trauma,
pride.
ego, pride.
Pride is a man's biggest downfall.
Within your growth journey, which I'm hearing and which I can relate to, your mind switches. So now you're able to navigate or project what you want to see. You become a master of your own thoughts, your own fate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, brother, I respect you for even getting through that stage and being here.
That's
right now.
saying,
You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah, but bro, same way as member. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, it's
man.
all right, King.
I know your thing separately.
Yes, my brother.
So when you're ready, you got to give the street some heat, because right now you're doing too much therapeutic warfare stuff. That's why I wanted to do this with you, because it's like you're someone that's come from the same circumstances and you're trying to change and turn it around. And not a lot of people end up doing that, man.
My brother, I appreciate you for recognizing that. And I will express, because I feel like, again, it's a battle between knowing how much
you want to give.
You know what I mean? Because I'm not in it for ego.
Exactly.
I'm not in it to be getting handcuffed. But at the same time, I've gone through experiences and I've grown through experiences. And literally, brother, it's down to the Most High. It's down to the you know what I mean? As to why I'm here. So that testimony is important.
Serious, yeah. Both our testimonies.
Yes, 100%.
And
brother.
you know, I was speaking to a brother not too long ago, and I was basically just outlining that I wasn't very confident in expressing my story, because I'd never want to come across like I'm glorifying this life. I don't glorify it at all. I don't think that it makes you a cooler person or a better person. If I could go back knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have done anything that I've done. Do you know what I mean? But the main point is to show the younger generation that you're able to transcend from this environment, turn around, switch it, and do something more productive. That's the main point.
But I think you would have never been able to show the younger generation truly that you can the way you're speaking now is with more conviction, because you've been through it.
True.
So the Most High needed you to go through this, for you to be at this stage. He knew the seed in your heart.
Of course.
And that's why a lot of the time I'll talk with people and I'll be like, yo, it's about your heart. The Most High is a heart reader. Yeah. He knows your heart. So stay true to that.
You got to guard your heart, man, because everything flows from it.
Bro, a lot of people don't realize the skills that come from the streets can be transferable. What have you carried over into your new life that still serves you that still serves you now?
Yeah, cool. So marketing, sales, operations, customer service, team management. I feel like a lot of people on the roads right now, they don't understand that if they just transferred the hustling world, or the trap, whatever you want to call it, everything involved in that, the core principles, the fundamentals, is everything you need to start a company. The company, yes, going corporate, it is a much deeper level of expertise. It's not, trapping is a very core basic level. It's like year one of business. But if you take, for example, you might be on the strip collecting numbers, right? Business goes the same way for marketing. You might be networking with people outside, telling them about what services you have to offer, getting their numbers, speaking to them, messaging them, reaching out, sending deals, do you know what I mean? Like, bro,
calculating risk, knowing who to allocate to do what, knowing I can't get this guy to do.
Exactly that. And bro, it's all the same stuff, but business just takes it to that higher level of expertise, man. Yes.
So, I know you mentioned discipline earlier in the interview. How has exercise and your physical routine helped you with your mental and emotional discipline as well?
Bro, it's all I had, man. When I was going through my trauma, my PTSD, and like feeling depressed, I don't talk about my emotions ever, because I never want to be a burden on no one. And I was always told, you know, to be a man, you got to basically deal with it. But bro, like, exercise, that was my kind of distraction from everything I'm feeling inside. And, you know, I went mad with exercise and discipline because it allowed me to basically transition all them negative emotions into something that I could do on a day-to-day basis.
I'm laughing because I remember when we was in
it
chilling in the
was you and
jacuzzi.
David?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
was in D. Lloyd,
Yeah.
and you was telling me about the water. You know, the plunge.
Yeah.
You were saying, bro, it's all this. It's a mind state, and that it's all. You're looking at it like cold, but it's just water.
It's just water.
You know what I mean?
That's what, like me and my brethren Jay, shout out Jay, we went in there for 90 minutes. 90 minutes.
How did you get your, where did
No
your mind go?
No one sits in there for 90 minutes, bro.
Where did your mind go?
Bro, my mind goes, when I'm in there, my mind goes heavy into the future. I spend a lot of time kind of dreaming on everything, like my intentions, my purpose, everything I'm setting out to do. I'm not thinking about how cold the water is or that it's ice and my bones are hurting and I'm freezing. I'm thinking about everything I need to do now to take myself to the next level. And, you know, me and him, we're both athletes. So we understand the importance of controlling your mind and fighting against it, even when it's trying to get the best of you. No one wants to sit in freezing cold water for 90 minutes. But we was actually doing that because we was competing against each other, innit? We was figuring out who's got the strongest mind.
Yeah.
But we both stepped our feet out exactly the same time, drawn. But yeah, bro, I just go into a place of focus.
How did you feel after coming out of there? I've got to ask you, how did you feel after?
Physically,
Yeah.
my body, it was so cold, like, bro, like my bones, everything, like I felt like everything was gonna shut down. I went home that night, I got in bed, I put on like 3 duvets and my bones, everything was freezing. I said to my mum, we might have to go to hospital. She said, why would you do that?
It's extreme, but it's almost like
I said I
pushing
was doing that because I wanted to see how far I can go.
the limits.
She said,
You're pushing your
why
limits.
do you always do that? And I said, because I've got to be better than everyone else. You know, I need to, it's like when people go in the gym, they ask me, how do I get my physique? How do I look the way I look? I don't go in there with no notepad. I go in there and try and outwork everyone. That's what I do. I don't sit there with no notepad and no nutrition plan. I sit there and I figure out how I'm going to outwork all the people around me. That's what I do. And that's how I take this business thing and everything I do.
Bro, what role does faith play in how you move today?
Faith is everything, man. Even before I come in here, I started praying. Even when we had to come and start again, I went for another prayer because I was just like, you know what, Lord, like, my last podcast I didn't really go too well. So I just asked him for making sure this one is a successful podcast or interview, whatever you want to call it. But faith is the cornerstone of my existence, man. Because without it, if I didn't have faith, I would have probably stayed living a life of sin. Don't get twisted. Don't look at me as no like a mad example. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not trying to say I am. I'm an imperfect man, you know, trying to basically follow the gospel and just try my best to be better every day, man. But that's it.
Well, you're doing that, King. You're doing that, man.
I'm trying. I've got a long way to go still.
Well, that's a good
Very
way.
long way
That's
to
a
go.
good
I'm
way
very
of
far
thinking
from
of
where
it.
I'd want to be.
That's a good way of looking at it, and that kind of keeps you on that driving,
Trajectory as well.
that trajectory.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to kind of stop, and it's not always ego, but sometimes you got to stop and say, you know what, like you said, I've come a long way, I need to just give myself. I need to give myself, you know, they say a pat on the back, but I need to give myself ratings right now because you're doing a lot, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're connecting with big brands. Not many people your age that have gone through what you've gone through can say, yo, I've started my own brand. I'm connecting with massive companies, IKEA, Barclays, these sort of things. It's motivational, bro. It's motivational for the youth. It's even motivational for adults, myself to hear. You know what I mean?
Well, bro, I give all the praise to God because I don't even understand sometimes why. That's the maddest thing. Some like people walk up to me and they'll say like, "Oh,
how did you get this brand deal? How did you become the front page of IKEA? And I say, honestly, like, I couldn't answer it. The only answer I would have that, you know, which is a God-given attribute, is that I think I'm very good at branding. That's the only thing I could think. You know, I think I'm an amazing I think I'm an amazing brander. I think I'm a brand specialist. And I would say that gives these corporate brands the trust in us to fulfill what they desire. Because I set my brand out to be a part, because I'm so focused on attention to detail. So I'm a branding specialist, I will give myself that. But in terms of everything, I give it to God because,
We're coming towards the end of this interview, but one more question, my brother, yeah? What would you say to the young G's out there right now that are in this life, unsure if they can change and still figuring out their worth?
Yeah, I would say that don't get mixed up. It's not all what it seems to be. The watches, the cars, the clothes, these material things that you judge yourself by. Don't make everything about your identity connected to just what you have. It's about who you are as a person. It's not about what's on you, it's about what's in you. You feel me? A lot of these trap stars, fraudsters, everyone doing this crime, it's all based on who's got the best watch, who's got the best car, who's got the best clothes, who gets the most girls, right? That's not what makes you a man. That's not what makes you a man. That shouldn't be what defines who you are as an individual. What defines you is your purpose, and if you're fulfilling it, if you're fulfilling your obligations and your duty that you put upon yourself to basically be better. If you're doing that, then you're on the right path. But if you're just trapping to buy clothes and, bro, you know this, if you're doing real crime, you get hit with a pocker, you got to owe the courts.
They're coming for everything. They're coming for your clothes.
You're coming for everything, bro.
Everything.
You get hit with a Proceeds of Crime Act and then see how it goes then.
It's a different vibe. It's a different level.
It's a different level. So I would just say, whatever you've got left, figure out a number, get to that number, exit, put your ideas on a piece of paper, and invest what you've got. Take those core fundamental skills that you've learned, transcend it into business, and leave the past behind. And stay away from people that aren't willing to change and aren't willing to progress forward.
My brother, there's not only a lot of nuggets for my audience to digest, but there's even been a lot of nuggets for me to digest in this interview. I'm not just saying this, King. It's been a pleasure talking with you today, my brother. Is there anything in terms of your brand, anything else you want the audience to know? Your Instagram, where they need to follow you? Hit them up, my brother.
Yeah, man. So if you want to follow the brand, it's Stay Clean Daily on Instagram. If you want to follow my Instagram, it's KaiserOfficial_. I think my TikTok's KaiserOfficial_ as well. And the last thing I would say is just, watch out for the journey. We've got lots of big things coming real soon. This next 6 to 12 months is going to be some real motivational moves. I'm going to be transitioning on a bigger level, a global level. So if you want to watch the journey, then follow for more, man.
My brother, hopefully I get the opportunity, God spare life. I don't know why I'm saying that, because I've got divine faith that the journey, I've got so much more to fulfill. To interview you further down the line, to see where you're at, to see the growth.
I ain't gonna forget about you, bro. I ain't gonna forget about you,
Don't leave me now. We're here, bro.
I ain't gonna forget about you,
we're
bro.
going together. My brother, again, thank you. I'm the therapeutic author. I'm checking out. Tap into this interview. Like, subscribe, gain motivation, gain wisdom. More love, yeah?
Come on, man.
All right. More love, man.
Don't know, my bro.
Thank
Love,
you,
man.
Love.